In the preceding chapter of our Total Training InDesign CS6 Essentials course, we covered how InDesign can create useful templates we can quickly and efficiently turn into documents that we're producing on a regular basis. In this chapter, we'll show you how you can use those templates to quickly create consistent, high-quality documents that are based on those templates, as well as how to fine-tune those documents when the template doesn't do exactly what we're looking to accomplish. In this chapter of our InDesign CS6 course, we're going to take the template that we built in the previous chapter of this course and use it to create a promotional trifold brochure. There are a number of ways that I can open this template. I could open it right here from the InDesign welcome screen. I could go to the File pull-down menu, or I could just use the keyboard shortcut Command-O to open it up working on the Mac platform, Control-O if I'm working on the PC. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open this up from the Finder in the Mac operating system. If you're working in the Windows PC platform, I'd ask you to open up your Project Files folder on your Windows desktop and do the same thing I'm going to do right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right over here just very quickly, and I'm going to go to randy5.indt. This is the file that we used in the previous chapter to create our trifold brochure template. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to click on it just once. It'll show that icon right over here to the right. It'll show it's an InDesign template. Notice it's not offset to the left as it would be with a little box if we were working with an InDesign document. And this little page turn down is at the bottom of the page instead of the top. These aren't really significant in the total scheme of things, but these are quick indications that we'll know if we're looking at the icon for this file that this is a template and not a document file. I'm going to double click on this, and when I do, what it's going to do is it's going to create a brand new document. In this case, as you can see, named untitled by whatever number sequence that you're working with. So in this case, what's happened is we've opened up the template and it's created a brand new untitled file. That's what an InDesign template does. It allows you to create copies of the original file to work with to build new InDesign documents without messing up the original. I'm going to go to the Pages panel, and as I do this, I'm going to double click on page 1. There's my page 1. And as I've got this available now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on building my InDesign document. Let's start by building the Mail panel that we'll have loaded in the center of this screen. Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to build a reversed element out of it. As we've found with previous exercises working with InDesign, we can put little indicators to say this is where this is going to fold in this document, or what we can do is we can design across the entire panel to give printers easy insight for what we could do to take this and make that happen. And that's in fact what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to get my rectangle tool and I'm going to go right down here to the edge and draw a frame that completely fills the space in between the fold lines between the first and second third columns, and then goes all the way off to the far edge of the bleed area outside of my page trim. Now it's got its default stroke of black and fill of none. We're going to change that by going to the swatches palette, and what we're going to do is we're going to use that color that we're working with, Pantone 288C, that we use for a number of total training collaterals. We're going to give that a fill of that blue, and we're going to take that stroke and we're going to make that none. So as I do this, I have a dark frame defined, working right here, of Pantone 288C, cyan 100, magenta 88, yellow 27, and key color black of 19%, that process color approximation that's built off of the template. Let's go grab a couple of graphics to build into there. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to place a Total Training logo in there. I'm going to get my selection tool, and I'm going to go Control D if I'm working on a Windows platform machine, or since I'm working on the Mac for this chapter of our InDesign course, I'm going to go Command D, and what that'll do is that'll open up the Place dialog box. I'm going to navigate my way to Chapter 6, and I'm going to grab myself the logo that I'm looking for. Let me pull this over just a little bit. And I'm going to grab the Total Training Tagline Reversed.eps file. So I'm going to double click on that and place it. Whoop, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually place this as a separate item. So I'm going to go Edit, Undo, and what it'll do is it'll take that text and it'll place that graphic inside of the place gun and allow me to click and place that separately. So now I have my total training showing as a separate piece as I'm working with this document. Now, it's nice that I have that there, but that's not the way that I would normally lay down the logo for the mail panel that would go on the back of my trifold brochure. I want to rotate that. So I'm going to go to my control panel here, and I'm going to set a center reference point, and I'm going to go to the rotation options box here, and instead of leaving it at 0, I'm going to rotate that at minus 90 degrees, which means it'll rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, just like so, and I can take this, and now I can place this right over, just like so, on the back panel of my trifold brochure. Now, in an earlier chapter, we checked Guides and Back, located in the Preferences, Guides and Pasteboards, under Guide Options. In order to see this top magenta guide a little better, you may want to uncheck that. Just be sure to lock your guides if you do so. That command can be found under the View menu, Grids and Guides. Now, that looks kind of ugly. And the reason for that is not because the graphic itself is really ugly, but because of the default display view that's set up working with Adobe InDesign gives us a low resolution proxy. I can kind of see what that is, but it doesn't render that in perfect detail. We're going to fix that by making sure that this logo is still selected, and then going down to the Object pull-down menu. At the very bottom, you'll see Display Performance, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that to a high-quality display. And when I do so, that logo will appear in much better quality. If I go Control-2, for example, on my Windows PC, or Command-2, working on a Mac like I am today, we can see that logo looks a heck of a lot better. Now, it eats up a little more computer power, and screen redraws aren't going to be quite so fast using this high resolution setting, but as we've done this, it makes it very easy for us to see exactly what we're working with and kind of fine-tune type when we want to do that, working with that element, or fine-tuning graphics to see what we're really going to see when we get to the end of the production process. Now in this case, I've set that for a single item. I'm going to set this rule globally for this document to work with the high resolution output setting. First thing I want to do is I'm going to click off of that. I'm going to go to my InDesign pull-down menu because I'm working on the Mac, and I'm going to go to Preferences, and then I'm going to take myself down to Display Performance. If you're working on a Windows PC, you'd be going down to the bottom of the Edit pull-down menu to select the Preferences command and go to this exact same place. Now in this case, it shows the default view here as typical. What we're going to do is we're going to change that to high quality, and this shows what those settings are. We could cheat that a little bit, but we don't have to do any adjustments there. I'm going to say OK, and as I do this now, every graphic that I place is going to be coming in at high quality and high resolution.